All determine who's on top. Mark Moore, serving 20 for a gang shooting, was feared and respected at Limestone Correctional. Mark would become Mindy's man.
Mindy, that's his nickname. I gave him that nickname all. And he was my baby. I was comfortable with him.
In prison, your boys or your sisters, that's like your wife or your woman on the street. On the streets, bring money or get you whatever. In prison, the more coffee you have, the more cigarettes and bullshit you have, it gets you what you want.
I told this freak I got a buffet at my sweet is ever real. I say I promise all the peace you can eat, you know me. My enemies, my family gonna get fed. Bread and water ain't enough. We want some bacon and eggs. You know I put a hit out of my friend by my ear. Never come at real. I'ma kill him again, you know.
As far as me being ashamed or having a complex about it.
And another thing, Warden, wise, a lot of people were questioning, are like, how common was that for guards to see inmates in their so-called humps laying with other inmates? Was that a common occurrence, or was that frowned upon by the guard?
Well, most of them, it was frowned upon, but some I couldn't tell you, and some are even too scared to go up and confront them. And it's certainly nothing that's condoned. You know, but when you hadn't got the officers to patrol the dorms and do things, I'm sure it happens every day. But yeah, to answer your question, most of them would break it up. Some of them would write them up, you know.
And as far as when they write them up, you know, because like that guy that did that to the Daniel Williams, he had cases written up, but no disciplinary. Like, do those just get thrown away, or they just don't?
You mean like he was written like a citation instead of a disciplinary?
Yeah, like there's something documented that he got caught with with 6 knives, but no disciplinary.
Yeah, well, you know, it happens. I mean, it's just like the police officer on the street. You know, the correctional officer's got discretion. Of course, if he overlooks too much, he's going to get himself in trouble. But you know, a violation's a violation, I guess you'd say. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you. I probably wrote 6 disciplinaries in my 28 years, and that's just because I had to.
Yeah.
But I wasn't too big in it. You know, it's not that big unless the guy had done something really, really violent. And of course, attempting to escape or something.
And you know, a subscriber, how common was it for an inmate to come into your office or any rank's office, you know, making accusations against another inmate, saying, "Hey, you know, I got," how do y'all go?
You know, it's a code of silence. It was rare. I mean, I had a lot of them that would talk to me, and I'm sure other supervisors did too. But it was rare. Then sometimes the supervisor gets so hardened and wore out by the job, they get to where they just don't give a fuck. You know, give a shit.
Yeah. Sadly to
And
say,
that's bad. When you get in that situation, it's time to retire, move on. You know, because we're talking about safety, and those inmates are your public, and you're talking about public safety in that penitentiary. You got to keep them safe as you can. Make sure the environment's clean, safe, orderly. Because if you ain't got order, you ain't got shit.
and another thing about, what about the people that self-expose? They don't like, they don't write them up free world cases for like exposing themselves to public, to like to guards or
No, free world cases, no. But now, usually those female correctional officers who that usually happens to, because they call it gunning them down, and you know, which is sick to me. That's just sick. But they would write them up. Now, I had a whole, and some of those disciplinaries, you know, that goes back to the other spectrum I was talking about, the quality of officers you get. Some of those females in there just got obsessed with it, and that's all they focused on, and that's not good.
yeah.
But you know, a lot of those disciplinaries I'd look at and say, man, I mean, it got to the point where the guy put his hand in his pocket and looked like he was rubbing his dick. You know, they'd write him up. I mean, you know, but now a guy that outright exposes himself, yeah, he's supposed to be wrote up, but now you can't get no district attorney to prosecute that. That won't happen. Not in the penitentiary.
Okay. Because you know, Mark's out here, he's adamant that, he's a self-proclaimed gunner. He got 9 cases, and he's trying to, fess up to all that except the documentary. He's saying that documentary has no value, that it was scripted, and I don't know if you ever met Jonathan Schwartz. Jonathan Schwartz, he came out and did an interview, and he basically called Mark a serial rapist to his face, not to his face, but on the interview, and said, Mark, and as far as
yeah, Mark's the type guy I'm talking about. That he's one of those that should never be let out. Because he does it in there, he's going to do it on the street. You know how the sex crime thing works. Them guys that get into that sex stuff and them sex crimes, 9 times out of 10, they can't quit. It's just as bad as an alcoholic drinking booze, you know.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're self-admitted, like you heard him on the documentary, and then he's out here, self-admitting that him and another dude would go on missions and go gunning the officers, the females.
Oh yeah. I've seen them. I've locked them up. I've seen them. I know exactly what you're talking about. And all that's true. That's true as it can be.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I mean, them same characters that are doing those type of activities of self-exposing, them are the same ones that are out there playing with the boys out there and indulging in those type of activities.
Exactly. And you just don't want that guy out of prison out here around your children. You know.
Exactly.
I'm just telling you. We're all given. We was all taught right from wrong. Most of us was when we was young, and you're supposed to have a little moral responsibility. If you believe in God or some other higher power, you're supposed to have some decency about you. We're supposed to all live together and love one another in this whole situation. What does violence get anybody? And why would you want to? You want to have sex with. I prefer women, but you want to have sex with somebody. You want to have sex with somebody. I mean, why would you not want it to be consensual? And why would you not want it to be loving instead of some violent, gross act,
Yes. And I think that's what makes the Mendenhall and Mark situation so interesting, because they at first it started into a violent and aggressive, and then all of a sudden they fell into each other's arms where they're constantly loving each other, and it's like, that's rare that the victim falls in love with the abuser.
No, that it happens though. It happens.
Yeah, especially in that type
and then
of
I
environment.
still have my doubts if Mendenhall hadn't been with him before. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I couldn't, just going by that video, it's very, he's probably telling it about like it is. And then that Mendenhall and him probably did fall in love with each other.
Yeah, because I mean, the way that, I'm gonna pray a little bit more for you can see what they say.
I don't. Because I'm a strong believer. If you got to be ashamed of something that you do, you shouldn't do it.
This society away from society mirrors the actual society out there. We have religion, we have schools, we have drugs, we have sex, we have all types of vices. And I tell you, I wouldn't want to work in a prison that didn't have some vices in it. And sometimes those things keep them busy. That keeps them out of our hair. Now, there again, I don't condone it. And if we catch them, we'll punish them. But I know it goes on, and it probably does have some element of helping us keep control.
The more shit, like coffee and cigarettes, things like of that nature that I got, the more I want it. The more boys that I picked up, the more I wanted. It was like it became a challenge to see a pretty little young boy come in and Everybody shooting at him. Everybody trying to get him. Everybody trying to pull him in. So it became a challenge. It made my dick hard to chase him, to see if I could get him before anyone else.
I met Mark on the chain gang. I would say it was in '98. I wouldn't talk to him for the first couple of days because I was too scared. But then after that, I kind of loosened up a little bit, and I got high with him. He was running a store, and I had a person I was looking out for as far as loaning him stuff. So I'd go to Mark and get stuff and loan it out for a money order or whatever, and just pay Mark off. So that's how we got acquainted, was just through business.
He came to me, Mindy came to me and requested to be with me. You know what I'm saying? Which was rather strange because this was like the first guy that ever pulled up on me and said, "Hey man, can I be with you?" You know, so it was rather shocking.
So we ended up doing a business transaction on some money, and he asked me if I would do something for him. And I told him, yeah. Of course, at the time I said that, I didn't have that in mind, but that's what it ended up being. So, you know, from that point on, I didn't really kick it with nobody else for a little over 2 years.
Mindy was not the only one to join Mark's makeshift clan. There was Hips, a forger. He began as a prison wife.
It's really not just a sex thing. It's about having a companion, somebody that you know is your friend.
I got Hips through a partner of mine. Hips went to the street and come back to prison. When he got to the camp, he owed out like $300-400 worth of shit. When he first got there, from before when he was in prison.
And we were business partners. Okay, when I left and he left, we met up again here at Limestone in 2000. Okay, and it was the same scenario. Mark had a boy.
You know, Warden Wise, how familiar are you aware of the so-called family? You know, because this documentary is based off of family. I guess Mark is the hierarchy, you know, taking the man role, and JG is his I guess partner in crime. And were you aware of this type of, you know, behavior of this prison family environment? You know,
yeah. That's pretty common sometimes. It's more common among female inmates at Tutwiler than it is the male inmates, but it's common among the male inmates too. They'll have a little family, you know. And then, of course, usually the family means some kind of crime that they got going on. But yeah, it's pretty routine. It was pretty routine. He kind of interested me. He brought up the chain gang. That's where I had most of my dealings with Minden, all back when I was a captain. We was running that chain. That's where I remember Mark from, the chain gang.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure the more you start going, I mean, the more you watch the documentary, the more the names and the face start popping up.
Oh yeah, they come back to me then. Yeah, it's like I say, gentlemen, it's been a while.
Yes. And now, man, we're very grateful. I mean, I'm thinking the audience, myself, and it's like, you know, you're bringing a whole different perspective, hands on deck, insight. You know, the more you watch the documentary, the more memories it's going to bring to your head and be like, oh yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch it. Can I get this off YouTube?
Yeah.
We'll get off YouTube.
Okay.
I mean, because you're in the documentary, so there's no reason. You know, Peter.
Yeah, but most of that somebody clipped me in there because like I say, that interview was done long after I retired, and that was at my house.
Yeah. So Jonathan Forrest did a lot of cutting and pasting, and I mean, because he embellished a lot of the stuff, because he actually made it seem like you were still there at the Warden at the time, you know, and even through the interview he made, he's like, oh, you know, the Warden at the time was about to retire, and we had free reign about the prison, you know, and a lot of people are questioning, you know, a lot of these scenes, like when Mark is laying in there with the boy, you know, going in the hump, the Julu making, all this stuff's going on, and everybody's like, oh, it can't be real. You know, if it was real, the guards would have put all those guys in lockup.
Not necessarily. You know, you lockup gets full. Of course, that's one reason they started taking life without parole and maximum custody inmates and sent them to Limestone so they'd have more lockup cells. Because I don't know if you're real familiar with Limestone, but it's divided into A and B side, and well, the whole A side is segregation now, is my understanding.
Oh, and that's for all the people that get written up cases and disciplinary reports and
and they're just too damn dangerous to be out among everybody else. Yeah.
And what would consider them guys dangerous? Unaliving a couple of people, or
Well, just continuously bad behavior, continuously violent behavior, trying to stab people, carrying shanks, just basically fighting, threatening people's lives, things of that nature.
Yeah. So after watching this documentary and hearing Mark self-admit all that, would he been in that lockup, man? Warden?
If I'd been warden, there would damn sure been an investigation.
Yeah. Because that's a lot of the subscribers in the audience are questioning, are like, you got a self-admitted guy admitting to all these deviant acts, and nothing happened to him, but hearing
I'm not going to tell you everybody that does wrong in there gets punished, just like everybody that does wrong out here in the streets, But
yeah,
for the most part, me personally, if you broke the rules and I caught you, you just busted. It's just that simple. That's the game we play.
Yes.
If you good enough to get away with it and not give me the evidence, well, more power to you, I guess. But your punishment is being in that damn prison in the first place. You take away a man's freedom, you take away everything he's got. About the only thing you can take away from him then is his life.
that's it.
That's it.
But Warden, we glad you came on, because we're gonna continue this right here if you don't mind.
I'm glad you had me. And just give me some advance notice and I'll.
Okay, we'll make sure we give you an advance notice the next time we go live to have you on, because we know you is a very credible person to put on the podcast, and we sure thank you too, Warden. I'm gonna call you Warden from now on.
I appreciate you, young blood, and I appreciate y'all gentlemen having me on there, and I thank you for that. And, you know me, you know I'm gonna tell the truth.
Yeah, I know you. And we actually, we trying to save the youth as well, trying to put out that things that go on behind them fences or them walls to try to save the youth that's coming in.
Yeah, I know it.
Yes, sir. So
some of these youth coming in are just there. It was getting that way when I left, but they wild as a buck, man.
Yes.
Yeah, they getting bodies now,
catching
bodies.
bodies.
Different breed.
Yep, they're catching bodies now.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate it. And thank you for having me, and be glad to come back.
Okay, Ward.
You have a good night, Warden Wise.
Okay, then.
Man. Thank you so much.
All right, and I appreciate what y'all doing.
You have a good one.
All right.
All right. Okay, bye-bye.
Y'all heard that, man, from Warden Wise. He's gonna be a regular. He got a lot of knowledge. Shout out to Youngblood, Nisa. Man, thank y'all so much. I guess we'll probably do another live right now, talk about what we just seen, What you think about that, Youngblood? We'll be back here in a little bit, man. Thank y'all, everybody, for tuning in. Y'all have a good one. And we'll be back here in a little bit.